that passed, commonly known as the Headlee Amendment. We have some people here, including Norm Hughes, who were there at the time, and we're going to give you a few slides on this. This affects every one of you. I've seen it work. I've seen it, things happen because people knew the Constitution and quoted it. So after your next 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you're going to be able to do that. Okay, key events of the tax revolt. In the 1970s, Americans were upset all across the country. There were two places where this tax revolt really happened: California and Michigan. And in particular, you see here, in the 1970s, the government's growing. Remember Jimmy Carter and malaise? We're in a big malaise. You thought it was your fault. No, it wasn't your fault. But there was malaise. And we saw constitutional amendments in 1978, both Prop 13 passed in California and the Headlee Amendment passed here in Michigan. Who was there? I just want to mention a couple of people. Al Schmidt has passed away, but his son Greg Schmidt's still involved. Norm Hughes was there. Milton Friedman played a part. Bill Niskanen, late Bill Niskanen, Bill Shaker, Dick Headlee, and as Norm was mentioning, 1978 was actually the third trial. So arguably, Michigan was the center of the intellectual ferment, of the patriotism that brought us the tax revolt across the country. What are the things that happened after that? Well, we passed it in 1978. There are a couple other things I want to mention. Governor England fulfilling a promise, appointed a Blue Ribbon Commission in 1993. You can still see that Blue Ribbon Commission report, which goes through it. I served on the Blue Ribbon Commission, and fortunately I got the job of writing most of it, so you can see it. The state actually went above the Headlee limit in 1994, so we got an income tax rebate. We got a real check, or a real rebate in 1995. And there were a number of court decisions that are important. One I'm going to mention here is the Holt decision that says if the local government puts a tax on you, they have to ask for your voter approval. And by the way, that includes if they say it's actually a mandatory user fee. There's no such thing as a mandatory user fee. That's a tax. And we have won that at the Michigan Supreme Court, at the Court of Appeals. And usually it started with people like you, people like me, who go to a meeting and say, if it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, if it's a duck, if you tell me I have to pay something because it rains on my property, that's a tax. And that has happened literally in Lansing and in Jackson. They said it's not a tax, it's a fee based on property you have if rain falls on it. I'm not making this up. We went to court over this. We won. So the key things for you to follow. I want things for you to know. Headlee Amendment, the Tax Limitation Amendment, you see the benefits of having people like Norm there that really thought this through. It's multi-level. First of all, there's an overall limit. You can't go any more than a certain amount as a share of personal income and state taxes. Then, the state, if they order your local government to do things, they have to pay for it. That's Article 9, Section 29. Then there's a minimum, it's 46% of all the state government funding has to go to local governments. So when you hear local governments complain about the Headlee Amendment, remind them of that. It requires the state to send them money, which it does. And then the one that most local citizens get involved in, Section 31, this is the one that says, if the local government puts a new tax on you, they must ask for your approval. So yes, that means rain taxes, that means garbage taxes, that means aren't you happy it's Tuesday taxes, that means if you happen to be around when the sun shines on you, you pay a fee, that is a tax, you have to vote on it. We have won on this in Lansing, we won on this in Jackson, it matters. And then finally, if the local government indebts you with bonds, they have to ask for your approval. So, now there's some of that games that are played with this, but at least in general, that's one of the reasons you don't see as many general obligation bonds. How can you read about this? First of all, there it is, there's the numbers. It's Article 9, Section 26, Article 9, Section 31. Just read it in your Michigan Constitution. You just go online and get the Michigan Constitution, read it. I always find it useful to be able to quote the Constitution to government officials who've sworn to uphold it. It's a very instructive thing, especially when they look like they never saw it. You know those vampire movies where they like that? Yeah, it's great. Read the Constitution to your elected official every week. Okay, otherwise you can also see Anderson Economic Group. We've got a nice summary there. I want to mention here, so Norm said, can you please tell us how much money have we saved under the Headlee Amendment? There's no way to tell how much overall, but here is our state revenue limit. This is the maximum the state can take from us, 9.5% of our personal income. And you go back to 1978, that's where we were, 9.5%. Now Norm will point out that we were more like 6 or 8% before that. They got it up, but that's almost 10% of your income the state can take in taxes. If you go see going forward, we've kept under it a couple times, though we banged into it. In 1995, when I worked for Governor Engler, I said, we're going over the limit. We need to send an income tax rebate, and we did. So people got $150 million there. Now we've gotten under it, and you see we're about $12 billion below it right now, about $11.5 billion. So how much money did we save here? No one knows for sure, but if I do very conservative accounting, because we keep banging into it, and it is the Constitution that protects us here, I add up just some of that difference, not all of it. That's about a $43 billion wealth transfer that we prevented by your work and by others. $43 billion. It could have been more. This is our buttress. Remember, all those government officials, local and state, swear to uphold our Constitution, quote them on this. So, this includes the sales. It's nice to know how many taxes you have. You pay a state sales tax. You pay a state property tax. You pay a state gas tax. You pay a state individual income tax. If you have a business, you pay individual income tax on your earnings from your business, even if you are a little LLC, right? All of those taxes added together can't go above 9.5% of our personal income. That's right, so that's a limit, and that's a very important buttress against us for our freedom. I'm going to close, and I'm going to actually pass the mic here to, remember my friend Dick Headlee, business leader, patriot, American hero, great man. I was very fortunate to work with him for many years, and I want to give Norm Hughes, who was there at the time this passed, a chance to say a few words about the patriots that worked on the Tax Limitation Amendment. So we all owe these people some thanks, so let me be the first to thank.
Back in summer of 1973, at that point in time, before MCU was formed, we had revolted in 71 and formed the Conservative Party of Michigan. And we were on the ballot for 3 election cycles, and then they threw us off. And at that point in time, Jerry Ford convinced us to come back in the Republican Party on the provision that we would get an equal and fair share of our number of delegates to the National Convention. So in '76, MCU ran the Reagan campaign, and we sent 29 delegates and alternates to Kansas City for Ronald Reagan from Jerry Ford's home state. I mean, it's about as welcome as a bird in a punch bowl or something like that. Anyway, but in '73, Bill Shaker, a young economist from Dow Chemical, came and parked in my house for 3 days. And we started looking at this, and personal income was going up 2.5–3% a year. And government income was going up 7 to 10% a year. In a 10-year period of time, government grew 51% relative to we the people. This was on Republican leadership. And so we decided we had to put something in the Constitution. In '74, we collected 460-some thousand signatures, but fell a little bit short. In '76, we got enough signatures and surplus, but the Republican governor, Bill Milliken, challenged it to an Ingham County judge that he had appointed, and they knocked it down on a technicality. All volunteer work at this point in time. Well, in '78, Reagan convinced me to run for Congress. I wasn't there to run the campaign, and we recruited Dick Headlee. Dick was the national president of the Junior Chamber of Commerce. Happened to be a Lutheran at one time, became a Mormon, so when we got together, he had his hot water and lemon as I was having my coffee, and a large family, wonderful family, very devout family. And eventually, Dick Headlee had a heart transplant. And when he retired from Alexander Hamilton, they set an empty chair for the young man who gave his heart so that Dick Headlee can continue to beat the establishment. So it was really a wonderful tribute to have Dick involved for that period of time, a wonderful man. There were so many people involved in that campaign. I mean, the MCU board at that time we had about 16,000 members across the state. Now, as I calculate what Patrick is saying is, you know, $43 billion equates to about $4,380 for every man, woman, and child in the state, assuming 10 million, a little under 10 million, which comes out to like $17,520 a family of four. So if I asked you for $35 for dues, you know, anyway, and by the way, even better yet, if you pay full price for this and you're not a member, not only could you have gotten a $10 discount by being a member, but we'll give you a $10 discount off of membership. So today you go over the membership table and you get membership for 25 bucks. So it's a very worthwhile organization to be involved in. And among the other things Dick did, he brought us a bunch of new young leaders like Patrick Anderson. So I appreciate very much your astuteness through the years. He did advise Snyder, but I assume Snyder didn't take your advice. But it came.
Well, he did when we knocked down the 7% sales tax.
What you're seeing periodically in your newspaper is a little ad talking about a hearing. And if you look at it, it's thinly disguised. What happens is, if your taxes are going up higher, or the inflation is particularly good, or whatever, the economy is going good, they're supposed to ratchet back the millage rate to fit within this confines restricted in the amendment. And the way they get around some of that is having a hearing. And everybody falls asleep. Economic hearing is only going to cost you 1/100th of 1% or something like that. But next year it's 101% up, but 101% of it, blah, 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 on and on and on and on. You've got to go and fight it. As a matter of fact, your townships have an annual meeting where you can go and you can actually set salaries for them and set agendas for them. There are things you can do. So pay attention to local government. Run for some of the local governments. Barry over here is Franklin Township Supervisor up in Holt County. Some of you are the public office holders too. And I thank you and praise you for it. And next time maybe you'll be a candidate. Maybe you become a county commissioner, a township supervisor, township trustee, county clerk. Get involved. And with that, I'm going to call Mr. Malker. Are you here? Did that cover it? Okay.
Thank you.
Fascinating.